Hey everyone, welcome back to the Might and Magic 6 Completionist run. Now, believe it or not, this series is almost at its end. Indeed, let me just open up my quest log. The only quest we currently have right now is this thing. I mean, it's phrased a bit awkwardly, but essentially this is going to start the sequence that leads us into the final quest. And after that, the game will end. And indeed, even in terms of the other objectives I had at the beginning of the series, like the extra stuff I imposed on myself, like, you know, the circus, the arena, bounties, alchemy, all of that has been checked off the list. So we are, in a way, ready to end the game. But before that, there was one video that I needed to make, and I've made reference to it here and there, which was a video where I go over some of the secrets slash interesting things and other little hidden details in the game that I didn't notice the first time around. So that is what we're going to be doing in this video. There will be timestamps in the description if you want to jump to specific things, because I will be covering, I have a list of 8 specific secrets that I want to address, and the way I'm going to be doing it is roughly in ascending order of how surprising slash difficult to find they are, meaning the ones that are easier to find I'll cover early on. And there's a little bit of, you know, subjective opinion here, meaning there are some that you might think are more or less difficult, but I strongly suspect that by the time we get to the end of the list, the last 3 in particular, that you will agree that they are pretty well hidden. Okay, now one thing that's going to complicate this video, complicated for me, is that a lot of these secrets are in dungeons that I went to a long time ago, long enough in terms of in-game time that they will have reset by now. So to get to the points that I need to go, I'm actually gonna have to either re-clear past parts of the dungeon or run past groups of enemies. Now, I'm not gonna bore you with that, but what I'll do is I will go outside each dungeon and then I'll cut the video to when we get to the part that is actually relevant for the secret. Right now, we are in the Castle Ironfist region, and as it turns out, the first thing that I want to address is, I believe it's in the Shadow Guild hideout, which is right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna, like, we're not gonna be going into any very difficult dungeons, but just out of habit, I'm gonna cast all my buffs, and importantly, I'm gonna cast my fly spell, and we're gonna start flying towards the Shadow Guild straight away. Another thing I'm gonna do, and this is a bit of kind of bonus, like a bonus tip, if you will, is I'm going to unequip my strong blasters and I'm gonna equip my regular weapons. The reason being that for indoor combat against weak enemies, you don't want these blasters. I mean, they fire rapidly, they take things down quickly, but there are issues where they won't target things properly if they're too close. And in general, against large groups of small enemies, you really want the area of effect damage from the carnage arrows. So for a while, we're gonna be doing more of the classical medieval fantasy combat that we had early on. So the first thing we're going to be looking at, there you see an example of how nice area damage is against weak enemies. We're going to go inside, and as you can see, there's a yellow indicator because people have reset. Some of these guys are dead because I think I came here to collect a bounty. What I'm going to do is video is going to go on pause. Once we're at the place where I'm at the thing that I want to show you, I will be taking things off pause, alright? So I'll see you in a bit. Alright, this is the first secret, and that is that if you click on this fireplace, I mean, it looks like a campfire almost, but it's set into something that looks like it has a chimney. So, but it's also kind of in the middle of the room, so it looks odd. Whatever it is, if you click on it, you find a thing. And
Very nice.
one thing I want to point out, I actually saved right in front of it, is that if you load your game and try again, you'll get different things. Oh, now why is this important? It's a small detail, but the way loot generation in this game works is that for containers, like chests, their contents are determined the moment you set foot inside an area, and you won't change anything by loading your game, except to get the items in different arrangements. Now, sometimes that can be useful if items don't spawn properly. I covered that in video number 2. The important thing is that this works differently, where the item is being generated on the spot
Very nice.
by, like, whatever seeding mechanism the game uses for, like, more
Very
dynamic item generation. So you can see we found different types of rings with different types of enchantments. And you might look at this and say, well, that's not a very impressive secret. I mean, wouldn't a lot of people just interact with this normally and just find the thing? And you're correct. It's not a particularly difficult to find thing. The main reason I consider it a secret is if we look at the map, you'll notice that with Master Wizard Eye, nothing is indicated as special about this, whereas other things are indicated, like this chest. I mean, that technically makes it a secret, because it isn't marked on the map. But again, not the most impressive of secrets. Alright? The second secret that I'm gonna hunt down will take us to the Mire of the Damned, so I will be with you once we are there, alright? See you in a bit. Alright, I'm pretty sure this is the place. The second one is in... Oh, sorry, I interrupted Roderick. He was about to say, where are we? Which is what characters say once you enter into a dungeon while someone is close enough to the entrance to trigger the yellow indicator. Now, the reason I'm coming here is because the first time I came in here, there was one part of the map, this room, you can see it's not fully explored.
That's too easy.
So we're gonna go there, and we're gonna see what's inside that room. And I will explain more about what the deal is with that room once we get there. We're there already. So, as you can see, I clicked on it, and it opened. And you might be wondering, well, Ali, what is the point of bringing us to a door that just opens? Why didn't you open it the first time? And the reason is because when I got here the first time, when I clicked on this, I got a message saying something like you're not smart enough, or some really weird, insulting, cryptic thing, and the door just wouldn't open. And the reason was that I came here early in the game when all of our characters, none of them had an intellect high enough to open the door. And I think 50 is enough to open it. I'm gonna confirm this again because I can't remember.
Where are we?
I can't remember who it was that was highlighted when I clicked on the door to open it. So Roderick currently has 55 intellect, and I haven't buffed it with the Day of the Gods. And with 50 intellect, that's enough to open it. And what's inside? Just bookshelves. Some of them will have spell books. I mean, I'll just throw them on the ground. Protection from cold. We already have all the spells. So we're not getting anything particularly interesting, but that's how you get into the library. All you need is an intellect of 50 plus. Now, why do I consider this a secret? The reason is because if you come here early enough, for instance, if you come here as early as I did, and if you don't have a stat that's high enough, you won't be able to get inside. So the game will prevent you from looking at what's inside, technically concealing it from your eyes, making it a secret. And the other thing is, the message that the game gives you when you click on the door, it hints at what you need to do to be able to open the door, to have a high enough intellect, but it doesn't tell you exactly. Like, you won't know exactly how much you need. So 50 is enough. It might be, well, strictly speaking, 55 is enough, but I'm pretty sure 50 is the actual cutoff. So that was number 2, the library in Snergle's iron mines. And just as a reminder,
We need to leave now.
okay, quiet, Alexis. Just as a reminder, the iron mines are in this part of the map. If you come in from the east, and really you can only come in from the north, you'll be pretty close to it. Alright, we're done with that. The next secret that we're gonna go to is, this one might be a bit tough because we're gonna have to go to Dragon Sand. And, this, rather than off-screening it, I'm gonna show more of it on screen than I will for the other secrets. There's a good reason for that. But for now, I am equipping my blasters and unequipping my weapons, because if I have something in my offhand while I have a blaster equipped, it'll kill the recovery time for the weapon. Right now, who has the Dragon Sand Beacon? You do. Okay. Now, for this, we need to go to the Shrine of the Gods. I've already gone over this particular secret. The Easter egg dungeon is there. There's a teleporter in New Sorpigal that takes you there. But there was one thing I missed. There's one thing that I simply never knew about and only learned when I was doing my research. Now, the reason I didn't take the New Sorpigal portal is that it would have put us right here in the heart of all these dragons. I don't want to... I want to deal with them in more manageable increments. Although, even in these more manageable increments, they are still breaking our things. And they've broken somebody's rifle, I think.
I've repaired it.
Fixed.
Because I thought I saw... yeah,
Fixed.
I thought I saw arrows flying among the
It's fixed.
laser shots, which is a dead giveaway that somebody's gun has been broken. Alright. And I'm gonna use the rapid fire that you get for using a blaster with the haste spell active. That's how I'm getting the really fast rate of fire, in case you were wondering and didn't know. And I guess I'll kill a few more of these just to make life a bit more comfortable. The reason I'm not going on pause is because it's kind of important for you to see what the distribution of enemies was like when I came. Alright, now I'm just gonna take down a few more of these like this. As you can see, dragons tend to focus on your female clerics. Well,
Fixed.
high priest now.
Fixed. It's
But
fixed.
they tend to focus down that character type pretty hard.
I've repaired
I don't know if it's based on... Well, it's probably based on her being a cleric, because there are two females. If it was based on that, Alexis would be getting the damage. But anyway, that's not the point of this video. The point is that, of course, everyone knows, or most people will know about the teleporter on top of the Buccaneers Guild. And I think you just click on it there, which will take you to the Shrine of the Gods. And what most people will then do, this gold dragon needs to chill out. It's really annoying because every time enemy spell effects are on the screen, it'll mess up the auto-targeting. That's another thing that's neither here nor there. One thing that I never knew in all my years of playing, I knew about the portal that takes you there. I knew about the fact that the Easter egg dungeon is here.
I've got a bat.
And I knew about, you know, the Shrine of the Gods where you get your stat bonus. But one thing that I never knew was that if you go back here, somewhere in the hilt of the sword, yes, in the hilt of the sword is a teleporter that will take you back to New Sorpigal. That is why I am putting this here, and I think that was me accessing it from the other side, so it's on both sides of the hilt. Now, initially when I went, hit my lamp. Initially, whoa, I think we got launched off a rooftop. Initially, when I went here for the first time, my advice was that you should come here with an NPC that can give you the town portal spell, that is the Gatemaster NPC. That was when I didn't know that there was a return portal. Having said that, even with there being a return portal, I still recommend, if you're coming here early on in the game, to come here with a Gatemaster. Because if you have a level 1 party, and a lot of people will come here at level 1 to get the stat bonus, just look at how many dragons there are around. And let me go. Like, if you go to the Easter egg dungeon and if you go outside, it's gonna put you here in a very exposed location with dragons hitting you, and then you will either turn around and run back through the shrine, or you will go around the outside. And what are the chances that you'll be able to do that without the dragons landing 4 hits? All they have to do is hit you 4 times to kill your 4 characters, and that'll be the end of your party. So even
Good as new.
with the return portal being there,
Good as new.
I
Fixed.
still would recommend
It's fixed.
that you go in. I don't even need this. That you go in with
Fixed.
a Gatemaster NPC to teleport you. Now that was all about secret number 3. Secret number 4 is going to take us back to the Castle Ironfist region. Specifically, we're going to be going to the Temple of Ba, which I think is here. So, I'm just going to fly there quickly before I put this video on pause, because pretty sure that place will have reset. And if that's the case, I'm probably going to have to solve the annoying doorway puzzle all over again. And I am not going to subject you guys to that. I'm going to off-screen that. Okay. Okay. Gonna set myself here. Gonna go inside. And the fact
I have a
that
bad feeling about this place.
this door is closed. The fact that this door is closed tells me all I need to know, that I do indeed have to solve this puzzle again. Alright, so video going on pause. I will see you once I'm at the place that I need to be. Right, see you in a bit. Alright. So, I am in here, which is the final portion of this dungeon. I think the quest item is in this chest, and this is a room with a bunch of gold. Speaking of gold, the secret is that this particular torch, at this point in the map, if you click on it, gives you 5,000 gold. Now, how can you tell which torch is the right one? Well, other than me marking it on the map, what gives it away is the fact that when you hover over it, well, when you hover over most torches, the game will display the name of the item like it does with a lot of items, but with this particular torch, the game does not do that. Now, this is a much more difficult to find secret, just because like it's not obvious that there's something there, and even if you happened to notice that it didn't display it correctly, you wouldn't necessarily read a lot into it, right? You might think that it's just a coding oversight, but nonetheless, the eagle-eyed among you might, the eagle-eyed and also the curious among you might think, okay, maybe there is something to it, and for that reason, you might interact with it, and you might find a secret that way. That's what puts it in the kind of middle of the list. Kind of tough to find, but there's kind of enough there to give you a trail to lead you towards the secret. Alright, the next one takes us to New Sarpagal, specifically to Goblinwatch. So I don't like the fact that we are all weakened. I'm just gonna quickly heal everyone up. Weakened because haste expired. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to Goblinwatch. Well, I'll fly to Goblinwatch and I'll put the video on pause once I'm at the entrance. Or I guess just inside the entrance. Need to get to approximately this part of the map. Alright, so I'll see you in a bit, and the reason that I can't walk straight there is because the dungeon has reset. I've got to go all the way here, I've got to enter the code and then go around. Got to go the long way, alright? So I'll see you in a bit. Alright, well, hang on, let me just take care of this dude first. Alright, so we are in Goblinwatch. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. We are in this part of the map, and this is the tunnel that leads you to the secret door, or not even a secret door, like you know there's a door the whole time, but it can only be opened from this side, so it's kind of Dark Souls-esque shortcut. And the secret is along the wall, the right-hand side wall of this tunnel, going in there from this room with these 4 chests. If you go along the right of the wall, there's a specific spot on the wall, and it's very finicky, right? See, here nothing's happening, here nothing's happening, but if you click here, at this exact spot, round about where the corner is, you will find treasure in the wall, and let's do it a couple times. And doing it a couple times will show that, once again, the item you get is generated on the spot.
Very nice.
And is not set in stone the way contents of chests are the moment you enter a dungeon. Although the restriction does seem to be that it's always a piece of armor, similar to the restriction on the fireplace in the Shadow Guild, which would only give us rings. So this is the secret over here. Now this is a tough one to find. I would say tougher than the previous one, because while you might notice something is amiss if one particular torch doesn't have text highlighted on it, nothing tells you that there's anything special about this part in the wall. In fact, on the overwhelming majority of surfaces in the game, if you click on them, it will simply say there's nothing there. So it's one of those things where I guess you could potentially find it by accident. Like maybe even while fighting enemies, if you were manually targeting, you might accidentally click on the wall and find it that way. Or maybe if you were a crazy person who just clicks on every part of the map, you could find it that way. So very, very hard to find, but still within the realm of believability that you would find it without being told that it's there. And again, I don't really need this. I'm gonna discard it. I know littering is bad, but you know what? I don't have time for this. You know, the goblins, the goblins can take care of it. All right, that was our 6th secret. The next one is going to take us back to Castle Ironfist. So there are quite a few of these in this particular region, but for this one we have to go to Corlagon's estate, which I think is this spot on the map. Corlagon's estate, I think, is where you find the Crystal of Terrax? Or one of the promotion quests, I think, from Albert Newton. It's been a while, so my memory on that might be a bit hazy. We're gonna go there, and we're gonna, as I have been doing, put this video on pause while I take us to where we need to go, alright?
Familiar with these surroundings.
So I will see you in a bit. Alright, so we are in this part of the map. I'll just zoom in here. We are over here in the northeastern part. And this section of the game, like there's a walkway slash very narrow bridge that connects these two parts. You can fall down. But the secret that we are interested in is this thing over here. Believe it or not, actually, have I saved? Yes. We need to cast telekinesis on this thing over here. And that will open, well, that will reveal that what seems to be a random piece of decoration on the wall was actually a container with in this case, excuse me, sorry about that. In this case, nothing all that interesting, but I have been told by the person who told me about this that high level items could potentially spawn inside this. And I haven't tested it extensively, so I don't know if an artifact or a relic could spawn inside. But if it is the case that this is a high enough level chest for relics and artifacts, then maybe things like this could explain why a lot of people, if you read on the forums, will say that they stopped getting artifacts in-game before they found 13 of them. You're supposed to find 13 before you hit the limit, but some people stopped finding them earlier. This could be one reason that the game might be spawning items in chests that you didn't even know existed. And once you've entered a region where they've spawned, the game acts as if you've found them. And that is a pretty sneaky thing. Now, this is a very difficult secret. And before I talk about how difficult the secret is, I should give a shout out to the person who alerted me to this secret's existence. It is a commenter on some of my videos by the name of Regina Maes. And that person was helpful enough not just to tell me about this secret, but two of the other ones that we've already seen. The torch in the Temple of Ba with the gold, the 5,000 gold, and the item in the fireplace at the Shadow Guild were all things that I learned about from this person. So, thank you. And I just wanted to acknowledge that I had some help in finding out the existence of some of these secrets. Now, this secret is almost at the end of the list, because it's a very difficult one to find. It's more difficult than the one in the wall at Goblinwatch, because while you could find that maybe accidentally by just clicking haphazardly, this one, there's no way for you to accidentally click there, because you have to be close to it before the game allows you to interact with it. The only way to do it at this kind of distance is with telekinesis. And while someone might be crazy enough to go around clicking on everything within reach, nobody on this planet is gonna be crazy enough to cast telekinesis on every object, because while the screen is open, while the telekinesis cursor is on the screen is frozen, is what I meant to say. So every time you wanted to test a new area, like, okay, nothing is reacting with telekinesis, you would have to manually turn around, and it would take probably longer than a person's natural life to try this on every out-of-reach surface in the game, especially if you consider places like the Tomb of Varn with its giant, open areas. So yeah, that was this secret, helpfully revealed to me by Regina Maes, to whom I am quite grateful. Not just for all the secrets, but the other information that I've gotten here and there. Alright. There is one secret remaining. I mentioned at the start of the video that there were 8, and this was number 7. I also mentioned that I would be going in ascending order of how difficult they were to find. Now you might be asking, Ali, what could possibly be more difficult than this? Than a thing that you can only find by using telekinesis on a seemingly random part of the wall. Well, there is one thing that is even more absurd than this. And for this, we actually need to go to Kriegspire. Oh, actually, I messed up. Well, since we're going to Kriegspire anyway, I can do this then. I actually forgot to do secret number 5, which was supposed to be before the Temple of Ba. And it's not even really a secret. So, the 5th thing that I was going to demonstrate was that when you drink from this well, monsters will spawn in this part of the map. And I'll quickly demonstrate that. Well, first I'll demonstrate it by going to that spot of the map. And, well, let's rest until the morning. And let's cast fly, and let's cast our buffs again. Oof. I knew I would mess something up due to the fact that I wrote down my list in such a sloppy way. So if we go to this part of the map, which is close to where the obelisk is, just take a note of the kind of enemies we have. We have only Minotaurs, Minotaur Kings, some Earth Elementals, some of these guys, but only a few. By these guys, I mean the flying things that are pretending to be dragons, but are really a much weaker enemy type called Drake. Now let's go to the well in the town and have everybody drink from it. This well, when you drink from it, it gives you a temporary plus 30 in level, And it also says look out. And when I was reading up the walkthroughs, I was told that it spawns enemies. But no enemies spawned in town, so I was wondering if it was bugged, if it wasn't working properly. But what was actually happening was that enemies were, instead of in the town, being spawned here. So in this region, where previously we had only minotaurs, there are now a bunch of energy drakes. These guys are really annoying because despite not being real dragons, they can break your stuff. And one thing I'll do, I'll recall this beacon again just because it's a little bit quicker. Let's have everyone else drink from it. And now let's fly back and see if that changed anything. Alright. I know it's a bit of an anticlimax. Well, the climax is going to come after this. I guess it's a bit of an odd kind of break between the really big secrets and this, you know, decidedly less, not even a secret, but more of just an interesting little thing that you might not have noticed. As you can see, by drinking more times from the well, more dragons have spawned, where previously there were groups of only 2, now there are probably 8 per group that we can't see all of because they're overlapping with each other. Okay, so that is the penultimate secret that we're going to look at, the Kriegspire well. The reason I call it a secret is because depending on how you approach the town, if you go to the town first before you explore the north, you might not realize that those enemies were being spawned by this well. Meaning, it might be a secret to you in the sense that it's not clear how it was working. Now the actual secret, the final secret, now that we're done with that little interlude, is in Agar's laboratory. But before we can go there, we actually need to go back to the Mire of the Damned. Why, do you ask, do we need to go back to the Mire of the Damned? It's because we actually need to find a harpy witch. We want to let her curse our entire party. I don't want you to be afraid. Okay, yeah, of course that's gonna happen because we are cursed. I just want this harpy witch to do her thing once again. Of course, now that I want her to do it, she's gonna take forever. Come on, man. What? Oh my god. Okay, finally. Finally, now that she's done that, we need to go back to Kriegspire. Fortunately, that Lloyd's Beacon worked, because when you're cursed, every action you undertake has a chance to fail. So we're gonna go all the way back to Agar's laboratory while still cursed, and hopefully it hasn't reset. I don't think it will have. Okay, good. Everything is still dead, because I was not looking forward to fighting all of these guys again. What we're gonna do is we're gonna fall down, and we're gonna fall down again. Now, before I reveal to you what the secret is, I just want to say that when I read about it, I was convinced that it was a hoax. I'm like, okay, there's no way that there's something like this in the game. It is just too weird. Like, it is just so odd. Like, why would something like this exist in the game? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save in this position, standing in front of this cauldron. What I'm gonna do is now, just temporarily, I want to remove curse on... I want to just temporarily remove curse on you. Now, if you drink with Zoltan, you know, who's just coming in, normally, nothing affecting him, it kills you. And chances are, when you come into this dungeon, you will not be cursed. And so you'll drink this thing and you'll be like, oh, this cauldron kills me. What is even the point of it? And then you'll just go on about the rest of your life and not give it a second thought. However, if you come here while cursed, let's take a look at what happens. You gain plus 50 intellect. You are reading that correctly, plus 50. And now it's going to keep going, but it's going to cap out. Like, it'll keep telling you you're getting plus 50, but it's going to cap out. And I'm going to drink with everybody. And, by the way, Serena's stats are a bit affected because she's temporarily aged. Because I had to cast Divine Intervention a bunch of times in my arena combat video. So, I'm going to give everyone the maximum number of intellect that they can get. Now, what this thing will do is it's going to keep raising your intellect until it hits 255. Now, currently, Roderick doesn't have any item. Well, I guess he did have one item that was improving his intellect. Well, 2 items. Let's take them off. And even this, okay, so he had 3 items boosting his intellect. So, wait a second. Something seems amiss. Okay, so I thought I was tricked into thinking that Roderick didn't have any stat boosting items because coincidentally he had a plus 50 from his other stats and he had a plus 50 from his other items and a minus 50 from the artifact Zeus. So now that I've taken off all of those items, you can see that his intellect stopped raising once it hit 255. Now, if you're familiar with the computer science or binary numbers in general, that number will be familiar to you. It's, especially in the early days of computing, was the limit for a lot of numerical values, and after you went beyond 255, it would roll over and start counting from the other end. Now, before I stop, I want to, I guess we'll do it with Serena. We'll take off her items, all of them, I guess, just to confirm to you that 255 is the limit. Now, whether it's a limit because maybe in some version of the game, the base, not the modified, is what we're looking at. Like, maybe in some version of the game, this actually was meant to be a limit. Although, as you can see in the game as it was released, your intellect can indeed go higher than that. So maybe the game mechanics changed, or maybe 255 is just there as like a computer science Easter egg. Whatever reason, it caps out at 255. Now, what I haven't talked about so far is just what a crazy, crazy secret this is. Because think about it. you need to come here while cursed. And there is nothing in this dungeon, indeed nothing as far as I know in all of Kriegspire that can curse you. So you need to get a status effect from a totally different part of the continent and then come here and then drink from this specific thing. By the way, the same thing will happen if you interact with this pile of skulls, which is incorrectly being called a cauldron. So yeah, you need to come here with this specific status effect and then interact with these things. There is no way on earth that somebody would be able to discover something like this on their own. I am convinced. And if someone did find it on their own, please explain to me exactly how, because I have no idea how you could find something like this by yourself. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on this. It's a cool little secret, but not really something you can expect players to find if they're playing blind and searching for things by themselves. Alright, that concludes our little video on the secrets in this game. I think the numbering in this video might be a bit off because I was supposed to do the Kriegspire thing after the Temple of Ba, or before the Temple of Ba, but I skipped it and then did it at the end. But nonetheless, there are gonna be timestamps, so you'll be able to find the stuff easily enough. Now, we're done with the secrets. The only thing left to do in the series is to complete the main quest. So, I hope you enjoyed this little video, which is a bit of a more laid-back, relaxing interlude before we finally finish the game. So, alright, I hope you enjoyed this. I thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. So until then, take care.